rupees, but that I cannot buy same thing for after 5 years in same 100 rupees. Means purchasing power has declined of that money. Money is same. 100 rupees was today as well as that in future. But purchasing power has declined because of the inflation and other factors including. So purchasing power is the power of money to buy something for you. Wealth creation, we have said the wealth creation, you will not have that impact in shorter duration. Means I have seen कि लोग 5 साल 2 साल इन्वेस्ट करके देन दे थिंक अरे पैसा जनरेट नहीं हो रहा है. तो पैसा इज नॉट, मनी इज नॉट दैट इट इज जनरेटिंग फ्रॉम द वेल्थ, it is generating in shorter duration. If you have a longer goal, you need to have that discipline and consistency कि 10-20 years बाद मेरा ये amount मिलेगा मुझे. Financial independence, that lump sum amount will give you today as well as in future that financial independence. If you see, if someone is not investing, or if you may have example nearby you कि कोई ऐसा है जो इन्वेस्ट करते आ रहा है और some person is not investing was in that time. So currently the person who was investing has a better stability financial wise as well as other factors including, but who was not investing strive to even have their basic needs and facilities. So investing gives you that financial independence after 20 or 30 years as well. Generational wealth, if you have that amount you can pass it on to your generation as well. Means your life as well as your future kids or grandsons will be having a good amount of lump sum money to survive their basic needs and enjoy their life as well. Where we can invest, 6 investment pillars to build our portfolio. Equity or stocks, we have here equity. How many of you are aware what is equity? Other than Sneha, means Shivam is well aware of that, I know that. So other than Shivam, anyone? Means investment is shares, equity is shares, but what does it mean? I want to know that. Do you have detailed idea of that?
Company shares.
Equity is basically what we can say in ordinary terms is, means you have some shares, means you have rights in the company, ownership in the company. Even if you have one share of the company, you are owner of that company. इसका मीन्स ये नहीं कि जाके बोलने का कि कंपनी मेरी है. Means you have that certain percentage of equity in that company. For example, I have purchased 10% of Leon shares. Means I can be decision making up to 10% of that power. Means I have that right and obligations as well. ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ rights मिलेगा, obligations भी आएंगे. Means you have assets as well as liabilities to enjoy with the equity. Means you are the part of the company, owner of the company. So when you invest through equity, you own company's shares. That maybe means if a company is large, you may have 10-25 shares, even one share you can buy, no limit on that. Returns is normally 15 to 25%. It is an average return. It is not that every company will give you that. It is on an average we can have that return. Even some company may give 5%, some company may give 50%. So that will vary. I have taken it what it is in general terms, 15 to 25% I have taken as a range. You enjoy dividend income. Anyone? Dividend is basically earning from shares. Means when a company makes profit, it gives you some portion of it as a dividend. For example, Leon has made a profit of 1 crore and you have shares of that company. So when that profit is generated, company will divide some portion of it to you as well. Means every shareholder, not only you. Means whoever has the shares of the company may enjoy dividend to a proportionate exchange. We can invest in debt or bonds. Debt means basically here it is we are having a safer investment. Debt is you are giving some amount to a company as a loan. Here you will not enjoy dividends or you will not enjoy profits, but you will enjoy as an interest returns on that. Means if you are giving, for example, I have given 1 crore or 5 crore as a loan to Leon Industries or any other person. So I will expect certain return. It may be 7 to 8% generally, or even maybe some higher percentage, because we don't give on 7 to 8% because key FD gives that return. So why should we take risk then? So generally it is little bit higher, maybe 10 to 12%. We can expect returns on debt or bonds. So here we will enjoy profits in the form of interest. Here we will not get any dividend, but it is very less risky comparatively, because we have given loan, we are not the owner of the company, or we are not sharing profit or losses in the company. Whatever the condition may be, I will take my interest, no matter what you do. How you manage money, it is your concern. My concern is, I have given you loan, give me interest. Is it that ki bank gives you loan and you say, अरे मेरा का loss हो गया, मैं interest नहीं pay करूंगा? Can you do that? It's not possible. Bank will say, it's not my concern. I have given you money, give me that percentage of interest. Then we go on to mutual funds. Many of you may have started investing in mutual funds. So what is mutual funds? Mutual funds is also basically a pooled investment. Pooled investment means on your behalf, some professional is managing your funds. Your funds in the sense, when you invest 5,000, it is not that they are only managing that 5,000. They may have lakh of customers like you. So 5,000 into lakh will multiply, and the amount will be invested in different shares. They also invest in shares and bonds only, but in different shares. Means depending on market volatility and what is the trend over there. So as they are professionals, they are more aware of the situation and expert knowledge. So they invest according to their knowledge, and you may get returns on behalf of that. They charge certain percentage for that and give you 90 to 95% of the returns on what they generate. Diversified and professionally managed. Diversified means they are not investing only in a single fund. They are investing, for example, you have invested 5,000, you may have 10 to 12 shares or maybe 15 shares where they are diversifying your funds. So it is diversified and professionally managed. Real estate is basically your, means you own a house, flat or something like that. You can have normal tangible asset, means basically properties. Rental yield of 5 to 8% means if you are having an extra house, if you are having only one, then you generally stay in that, but you are having an extra house as an investment. So in that case, we generally generate 5 to 8% of returns in that house as a rental income. Capital appreciation over the time, as the land is not decreasing, land is same, but population is increasing. So population wise, we don't have that much land. As you all are aware, Mumbai has the population of more than Australia, and Australia is much bigger than our whole country. So here land appreciation chances are very high because we have less land and more population. So capital appreciation is as well with this 5 to 8% of rental yield. Fixed deposits, you all are aware of the fixed deposit. We get generally 5 to 7% in fixed deposit. If you are say senior citizen, you might get 8 to 9%, not more than that generally. Commodities, in commodities you will have gold, metals, inflation hedge. Hedging is basically you are means putting some amount. Let me explain hedging. Means I know if future prices will rise. In that case, what I will do, I will have that in advance. Means I will put some extra money and put that in my bucket. For example, I can give you for dollars. I know the dollar price will go to 95. In that case, currently I will buy at 92 or 93. When dollar prices will go high, I will sell that at 95. That we can say as we are hedging that fund. So you can do that as well. Investment risk pyramid. Basis on the risk and assessment, we can go through this. If you have cash or term deposits with you, means no risk, no returns. Cash हमने घर पे रखा है, will that generate any return for you? No. Safe है, जितना है उतना ही मिलेगा. Bonds or fixed interest securities, very low risk, but returns is also very less, 5 to 6%, generally 8% maybe max. Managed fund, mutual funds or unit trust. What is an average mutual fund return? That is normally we consider as 10 to 12%. So here risk is there, but return is also there, and return is moderately risk. So we can compare here. Shares is more risky but gives you return of generally 15 to 25%. But if you have knowledge, it is advisable to invest more in shares, but only if you have knowledge and risk analysis, then only. Derivatives is very high risky, where we trade in future and options. There are different things in derivatives that we can cover means in future sessions, but currently I will just introduce you to derivatives, future and options. What is future and options? Here also we trade in shares only. Means trading is done only in shares, but here every second it fluctuates, and as price go increase, means increase or decrease, there is risk of losing money or earning money. Here you can invest 1000 and get 10,000 as well in few seconds. Here you can invest 10,000 and become zero in few seconds. So it is very risky. It can make you rich in a seconds and beggar in a seconds. So just we will stop over here for this. We will cover this more in detail in future sessions. Power of compounding through SIP. It is just an example. You can have your research and invest accordingly. So power of compounding. What is SIP? Everyone might be doing this. Systematic investment plan, which means we invest certain amount in a certain mutual fund to get some return. Invest a fixed amount regularly, maybe 5 to 50,000. That may also depend on your capacity. You can invest up to 1 lakh as well monthly. But depending on your capacity, you should start investing. In earlier section, I have said that generally you should save 20% of your income. Whatever you earn, minimum save at least 20%, unless and until it's any emergency. Save 20% of your income as an investment. You can diversify that 5 or 10%, means basis your requirements. Your money compounds while benefiting from rupee cost averaging is equal to maximum wealth creation. What does this mean? Means basically when I started doing SIP, for example, I have started investing in SIP now. So what I will buy, for example, I have invested 10,000. 10,000 I have got 20 units today. Will it be same 2 years later? No. The market may rise or may fall depending on the market's strength. If it is rising, the price may go high. So in that case, if you invest regularly, it gets averaging, what we call as weighted average. आज मैंने 100 में खरीदा, कल 110 में खरीदा, तो मेरा पोर्टफोलियो जो है वो कल होके 105 का दिखेगा. क्यों? क्योंकि वो एवरेज हो गया. सो इट इज बेनिफिटिंग फ्रॉम rupee cost averaging. So as you invest longer, your average becomes lesser and lesser, and you may get more benefit. But it generally operates in longer duration only. If you are कि नहीं मुझे 6 महीने में ही रिटर्न चाहिए, so you will not get that return in shorter duration. So I have just taken an example, SIP of 10,000 monthly at 12% returns. What will an SIP of 10,000 monthly will fetch you? So if you invest for 10 years, you have invested around, means 10,000 monthly, so 1,20,000 you have invested in 1 year. In 10 years, you will invest roughly around 12 lakhs. What you will get in return is 22.4 lakhs. It is a rough calculation, means I have got it through Grow app. You may get some other amount, but nearby only you will get. In 20 years, you will have invested 24 lakhs, but you will get 92 lakhs. Here, the difference is very vast. Means in 10 years, what you have got return is 10 lakhs. But in same 20 years, you have got return of roughly around 68 lakhs. So what is the difference that made here? Compounding. In 30 years, same investment of 10,000 will fetch you around 3.8 CR, 3.08 CR. Means here you have invested only 36 lakhs in 30 years, but you are getting around 2.72 CRs extra or 62 CRs extra. How? Power of compounding. Means basically in these 30 years, you may have been added bonuses, dividends, and I have considered an average of 12% return only. Generally, market gives you 10 to 12% of returns, that I have considered. If you increase this percentage, we will come to this. If you increase this percentage by just 1%, means what I have considered over here is 13%. The same amount in 5 years will give you 8.31 lakhs. 10 years में 23.63 lakhs. What we have got in 10 years at 12%, 22.4 lakhs. Increase of 1% has fetched you around roughly 1 lakh more. 1% increase. We consider 1% are in manageable, बहुत छोटा amount है. But in longer duration, if you consider this, it gives you a vast difference. In 20 years, it will give you 79.84 lakh. At 12%, sorry, at 13%, and at 12%, it is something wrong over here. I might change that. We can see the difference in 30 years. Here it gives you 3.08 CR. I might have made something mistake over there. And here it gives you roughly around 3.76 CRs, means 68 lakhs ka more income in same proportion or same year. So what has changed is just 1%, 1% return, and that you have got 68 lakhs extra over here. So this is the difference of 1% and power of compounding. If you increase this percentage to 15, it may give you around 5 CR. So even 1% matters. So never settle down for less amount, but you need to analyze the risk as well for that कि हाँ मैं इतना इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं तो मैं कितना रिस्क बेयर कर सकता हूं. So we go on to here. Why SAP? Proven benefits. Rupee cost averaging, just I have explained कि over the time it averages your cost and minimizes your risk. कि फ्यूचर में जाके वो मेरा कॉस्ट कम होते जाएगा पर यूनिट का. Compounding growth, we have just explained at 12 and 13%. Low capital, you can invest and start from 500 also. Not required कि you should have 10 lakh, 5 lakh का investment. You can start from 500, 1000 and grow exponentially. Means you can increase as per your needs and requirements. Discipline, this is the most important thing that you require. मैंने आज investment start की, I should invest for whatever I have decided. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever my goal is, I should start investing in that only. I should be disciplined in my investment. ऐसा नहीं कि investment means I have got some expense, I will do that, then I will invest. It should not be that. I should first invest and remaining I should means expense out. Less risk. Here you don't have much risk as you are not managing your portfolio by your own. Your portfolio is managed by a professional who is charging you some commission, but here you don't have any risk factor involved, or you don't have any stress over here. He will manage for you on behalf of you. Now, the power of diversification, risk pyramid strategy, it is just for an example. It is not that you should invest this percentage. It is just for an example. Means you can diversify your portfolio in domestic stocks, international stocks. International stocks means you have different apps to invest in international stocks as well. Market money, bonds or tax, bonds high yield, and bonds intermediate. Means it is an example. You can diversify your portfolio in different terms. Risk-based investment categories. We have different risk capacities for all. Everyone is not same. Someone, for example, Shivam may have different risk capacity as he is earning more, currently single. He can invest more or have different risk capacity. Same goes for me as well, or Gangesh as well. Whereas Kajal, being married, she need to think कि मैं invest करूँ या नहीं करूँ, क्योंकि she need to plan for family things as well, other things as well. So depending on risk capacity, it is just an example कि हम अपना रिस्क कैसे मैनेज कर सकते हैं और हर एक का कैपेसिटी अलग अलग हो सकता है. राहुल may think differently कि मुझे इतना ही इन्वेस्ट करना है. So everyone might have different risk capacity. Low risk, that is conservative investors. I don't want to take much risk. कम रिटर्न मिला चलेगा, but I don't want to take much risk. So in that case, FD is safest investment, 6 to 7%. PPF, you all might be knowing, public provident fund, 7 to 8% investment. Government securities, 6 to 7%. Debt funds means what loan we give to companies is known as debt funds. That also gives you normally 5 to 7%. It may increase 8 to 10% as well. Generally, if we are taking some risk, we expect some more returns as well. Medium risk, that is balanced investor. Generally, what balanced investors do? Hybrid funds means mixture of debt and equity. Not just debt or not just equity, it is mixture of both. Means hybrid funds are mixture of both, which gives generally 10 to 12% of returns. Blue chip funds, this is the safest funds where banks mostly invest. Blue chip funds. Large cap and real estate. So large cap funds, generally the capital where generally the companies whose capital is more than 20,000 crores is known as large cap. 5,000 to 10,000 crore is known as mid cap, and less than 5,000 crore is known as small cap. So large cap funds may you can invest. Real estate, we all know properties and all we can invest, where we can earn 5 to 8% of return as a rental yield and capital appreciation as well. high risk, yeah, aggressive investors, what they do, they invest mostly in equity, means their investments generally may be around 70 to 80% in equity because they want more returns. Mid cap funds 15 to 20%. This is return percentage, means they can invest over here as well. Small cap funds generally gives you higher return, but here risk is also higher. Derivatives and crypto. Understanding investment risk, market versus company specific. So what is market risk and what is company risk? Market risk is entire market is affected by that factor, generally recession or economic slowdown. You might have heard few days before या maybe a year before around कि अमेरिका में रिसेशन आने के चांसेस है. जस्ट आई थॉट कि रिसेशन आने के चांसेस है, मीन्स पब्लिक के पास पैसा कम होगा, परचेसिंग पावर विल बी लेस. So in that case, market will not grow because if I don't have money to survive, will I invest in the market? No. Means I will see first कि मेरी basic necessities पूरी हो, then I will invest. Second, interest rate changes. In recent times, Japan has changed their interest rates. Generally, they were lending at 0%, so you can take or borrow money from them and invest in somewhere market, in any market. So generally what Japanese people were doing or others were doing, they used to borrow money from Japan and invest in USA and get 4 to 5% returns on bonds. But now Japan has increased that to 2.75%. Means here investing power has declined because now they need to pay that 2.75% to Japanese government, and remaining 1.25%, depending ki foreign exchange how much fluctuates, they will get as return. So here risk factor increases. So interest change of that government or that country also affects the market factors. Inflation spikes. If inflation grows, you may have heard about Vietnam, Sri Lanka recently. Inflation has grown and that results into market crash and many other things. Political instability, same example, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Global crisis where wars and other things happen. We are currently facing Afghanistan, Iran war, and earlier we were having that
Ukraine.
Ukraine war, Ukraine and Russia war. So that also affects. If you have seen over that time, the market was going down and down. That during that war, that results in market crisis. Manage with long-term investing, asset allocation, currency diversification. Means you don't need to hurry on that. You can have that. For long-term investment, it is safe. If you are searching for short-term, then it's risky. But for long-term, it's safe. कि मार्केट आज नहीं तो कल बैलेंस कर लेगा. Unsystematic risk, that is company risk. If a certain specific company is at risk, then in that scenario, that may be due to poor management of the company. Means market is going good, but company is not doing good because management is not that effective over there. Business failures, you may be taking wrong decisions regarding your business. Regulatory penalties, you are not following government rules or regulation, or you are facing some penalties over there. Supply chain disruptions, means whatever is your, for example, we are at a GP Industries. I am currently managing GP Industries as a manager, but I am not managing supply chain efficiently. Means सेल इतना हो रहा है, परचेस उसके हिसाब से मैं कर नहीं रहा हूँ, प्रोडक्शन अलग कर रहा हूँ. मीन्स सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट इज नॉट प्रॉपर. दैट विल ऑल्सो अफेक्ट माई कंपनीज efficiency. Reputational crisis, my reputation is not as good as it was earlier. मैंने कुछ तो डिफॉल्ट किया, paying debtors or paying creditors, paying bank loans or paying to government. In that case, my reputation will go down and that may also affect my business as well. If you have failed at a certain time, others may not believe in you next time as well. मैंने कल गंगेश से पैसा लिया, उसको बोला कि 5 दिन बाद दूंगा, बट 5 दिन बाद मैंने फोन उठाना बंद कर दिया. विल गंगेश बिलीव मी नेक्स्ट टाइम? नो, ही विल से अरे उसको जब काम रहता है तभी याद करता है. ठीक है, तो सेम इज फॉर कंपनीज एज वेल. इफ यू डू दैट सेवरल टाइम्स, इन्वेस्टर्स, creditors, debtors, everyone related to, means basically we can say stakeholders will not believe in you and your reputation will go down. Types of investment risk. Market risk, what we have covered over here. Overall market downturns affect Interest rate risk that I have explained as well, कि if countries का interest rate changes, that also affects. Credit risk, example of creditors or even government securities. Inflation risk means inflation कितना increase या decrease हो रहा है, उस पर भी आपका वो depend करेगा कि capacity कितना है. Liquidity risk. Liquidity risk is basically means you are selling, how easily you can sell your investment, how easily you can cashify your investments. Means for example, you have invested in real estate. Is it easy to liquidate your cash? For example, I have purchased a property of 5 cr. Will I get an investor easily who can buy that property for 5 cr? It is very difficult. Means liquidity risk is over here. But for example, I have invested in shares. Even if market is down, I may bear some losses, but it is comparatively easy to liquidate that cash. For example, I have investment of 1 lakh. I want to liquidate that. It is comparatively easy. I may have been in loss of 5, 10, 20,000, but I can easily liquidate that. But in real estate or something like that, it is even difficult. At a loss, you may not be able to liquidate your cash. So that is liquidity risk. Difficult selling assets quickly without significant price concessions. Means I will need to sell my 5 cr ka house at 4 cr or 3 cr due to liquidity crisis. Concentration risk. I have investment my whole amount in a single fund, 100% in equity. Is that risky? Yeah, very much risky. If I have diversified portfolio, it may be less risky and easy to liquidate as well. Okay? So don't concentrate, means basically you should diversify your portfolio accordingly as per your risk appetite. Currency risk, fluctuations in currency, it may also affect. I have given example of hedging, where dollar we hedge. So currently, where you are investing in, for example, you have invested in international market. So if you have invested in USA and the price of dollar is rising, you may be benefited from that as well. Stocks के price जो बढ़ेंगे उससे तो benefit होगा ही, plus dollar के जो rates बढ़ेंगे या कम होंगे उससे भी आपको profit या loss हो सकता है. Geopolitical risk, war, sanctions and all, political instability, impact market and assets values. Behavioral finance, that is control your emotions, control your wealth. In finance, we say we don't take decisions basis on emotions. अरे मार्केट ऊपर जा रहा है, मुझे लग रहा है ऊपर ही जाएगा. Emotions don't work over here. You need to analyze your finances properly, where you are investing and what is your basis for investment, because risk will depend on that only. Emotions पे काम नहीं चलेगा. So what common investor mistakes over here is fear driven selling in downturns. Market is falling, अरे मार्केट गिर रहा है, बेच के निकल जाओ. लॉस पे बेचा तो भी चलेगा, बट बेच के निकल जाओ. So what common investors do over here is fear driven selling in downturns. Market is falling, let's sell and exit the market. Greed during bull markets. Market is growing rapidly, invest करो. Currently we have example of gold and silver. Daily it is increasing by maybe 5%, 10%. So without thinking we are investing कि चलो आज इन्वेस्ट किया, कल मुझे 10% का रिटर्न मिल जाएगा. फिर कल 10% गिर गया, अरे लॉस हो गया, बेच के निकल जाओ. So we don't need to do that. Herd mentality. Herd means basically you are depending on group. हजारों लोग कर रहे हैं, मैं भी करूंगा, वैसा. Means you don't need to do that. Common investor mistakes is this. Timing the market, proven futile. Means you can't manipulate the market. Market goes on their basis only. You don't have to judge market कि मेरे judgment से market चलेगा या आपके investment से market चलेगा. वैसा कुछ नहीं है. मार्केट अपने पेस से और अपने कंडीशंस पे चलता है. सो वी नीड टू थिंक एंड इन्वेस्ट वाइजली. इमोशनल डिसीजंस, जस्ट सेड कि इमोशनल डिसीजन विल नॉट ओवरवर्क हियर. यू नीड टू एनालाइज द थिंग्स, calculate your risk appetite, then invest only. What smart investors or winning investors do? Stay invested through cycles. Growth है, still we are investing. Downfall है, still we are investing. Means we are maintaining discipline and consistency. Focus on time in market. We have made one goal, we are making investments through that, and we have focused specific on our goals. Timely we are investing. Think long term. Generally think for long term purpose, maybe 10 years or more. Just as an example, I have given you power of compounding for 30 years. If you go for that for 40 years, your same amount will increase to threefold. Means 3 crore, what you have seen is 30 years mein we are getting 3 crore ka return. In 40 years, that 3 crore turns into 9 CR, means almost 3 times returns in 10 years. So that's power of compounding. Means for first 10 years, you have got only 10 lakhs ka extra return. Next 10 years, you have got that 10 lakh converted into 68 lakh. Next 10 years, you have converted that 36 lakh into 3.08 crores. Means benefit of 2.62 crores. Next 10 years, you will invest only 48 lakhs. But in 40 years, that 48 lakhs will become to 9 or 8 CR roughly around. So that's compounding effect. Think long term. Stick to SIP discipline. Maintain your SIP even in low, even in highs. Ignore short term noise. Short term noise means just as market gir raha hai, market, ignore that. Maintain discipline. Asset allocation strategy, different for different person, life stages. It may change accordingly. It's just an example. So what is thumb rule followed over here is 100 minus your age percentage in equity. Means if you are roughly around, for example, on an average we take 27-28 years ka age. Some are more than that, some are less than that. So I have taken just an example, just say 30 years of age on an average. So if you are 30 years of age, 100 minus 30 means you can invest 70% of your funds in equity. Depending, 100 minus your age, you can invest that fund in equity and balance as per the debt and others fund. Means how to manage risk. It may be different if you are having other portfolios as well. For example, Shubhangi is investing in gold and silver. So you can have 50% over here, 10% over here, 10% in gold and silver, and 5 to 10% in others as well, depending your risk appetite. So if you are a young investor, we all are currently a young investor, so we can have 70 to 80% in equity, 15 to 25% in debt, managing our risk, and 5 to 10% in others, means gold, silver, or other commodities. If someone is interested in crypto, they can invest there as well. If you are moderate or middle age investor, 35 to 50, just like Manoj ji and Tushar's, so they can have 50 to 60% in equity, 30 to 40% in debt, and 5 to 10% in other. Why we have kept only 5 to 10% over here? Because it will give you consistent return, but minimal returns, 5 to 6% or 10% current. What we follow generally, if you see, it is currently that silver is giving you this much high return. But on an average, what silver or gold gives you return is 6 to 7% ka yearly return, not more than that. It is rally of silver or gold just now that is giving you 30, 40, 50% ka return, not every time. So we keep over 5 to 10% of our investment over here only. Conservative approach, if you are playing safe, you can go for 30 to 40% in equity. Debt may 50 to 60% you can invest, means it is safe as well as will give you fixed return on income. And 5 to 10% in others as well. Risk management proven strategies for wealth protection. Diversification, you need to diversify your portfolio from one sector to another as well. Means even in equity, you can diversify your portfolio sector wise. Just like in starting, I have said, Abhishek has said he would like to invest in manufacturing sector. Sneha said EV sector. So everyone might have their opinion. So you can diversify even in equities. I can invest in 4 different sectors, and 4 different portfolios can be there. Means someone can invest in manufacturing sector such as Tata Motors and all. Someone can invest in EV sector, Tata Power, and different Adani Power. Means it's just an example. No shares recommendation. बाद में कल को कुछ लॉस हुआ तो बोलने का नहीं. Just an example for that sector. So diversification. Dollar cost averaging, here it is dollar, but just I have explained rupee cost averaging. That is only that factor कि जैसे जैसे आप buy करोगे, your cost will decline. Cost will decline through averaging cost, weighted average. Long term horizon, you need to keep your investments for long term. Mainly it can be for more than 10 years. If you are searching for a long term investment, consider at least 10 years as a long term period. Regular review and rebalance. This is very important. Regular review means you don't need to monitor every day. मैं रोज जाके मार्केट देख रहा हूँ, अरे आज 2 रुपए से गिर गया, आज 5 रुपए से गिर गया, वैसा नहीं. You should have a review, but if you are investing in funds, 2 months, 3 months, yeah, you have heard any news कि हाँ मार्केट गिर रहा है, तो देन यू कैन रिव्यू. डोंट कीप रेगुलेटिंग एवरी डे, अदरवाइज यू विल हैव एन स्ट्रेच. आज 10 रुपए से गिरा, आज 5 रुपए से गिरा, तो दैट विल स्ट्रेस यू आउट एंड यू विल फील कि इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना चाहिए था, गिर रहा है वैसा. So don't review it regularly. Review it on timely basis, maybe 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, that you can decide. Or if you have heard any news, depending on fluctuation of the market, then you can review and rebalance. If you are thinking ki this fund is not doing well, or I am not finding any scope ki ye future mein grow hoga, then I will remove that fund from there and invest where I think this will grow. For example, Abhishek has invested in manufacturing sector, but now he thinks ki manufacturing sector is not doing well. I need to invest in EV sector. So he can withdraw that fund and invest in EV sector. Means you need to regularly review and rebalance your funds. Performance monitoring framework. Track return versus benchmarking regularly. Means what you are getting as a return and what benchmark is set in the market. For example, where you have invested is giving you 10% ka return and benchmark is 12%. So your portfolio or fund is not performing well or up to mark. So you can think that wise also. If it is doing on an average same or more returns, then keep it over there only. Quarterly or annual performance review, not regular basis. क्योंकि कोई भी means any asset or any stock will not perform regularly well depending on market. Even some days if you see, if you all are investing, some days if you see market is at high but your shares are at low. Why? Because every sector may not have that equal performance. Someday even market is at downfall but your shares performed well, so that can be the reason as well. Compare to appropriate indices. If you are investing in that sector, compare your funds with that sector only. I am investing in EV market but I am comparing it with manufacturing sector. Will it give me fetch me result? No. Adjust strategy is if underperforming. If your funds or portfolio is underperforming, adjust as per that. Controlling emotional decisions. Emotions don't work over here in market. You need to be more specific and strategic to investing. Stick to investment plan and strategy, what you have planned and what is your investment strategy. Avoid reactive decision making. Reactive means what we do, market is falling, just sell it. Even at loss we need to exit because कल के market और गिर जाएगा. So don't do reactive decisions. Be strategic. See what is the basis of that downfall. Is that downfall for coming for longer term? Means मैंने invest किया but I am saying that market is going down and down from last 2 years. So in that case I need to think. Basis on a month or 2 month performance, we don't decide कि long term में हमें क्या benefit मिलेगा. Diversify to reduce panic selling. You need to diversify your portfolio. Equity, share means equity में आप invest कर सकते हो. Debt funds and commodities में invest we can do. Regular review and not constant monitoring. Just now I have said you don't need to monitor constantly. Regular review means रोज रोज नहीं monitor करना है. You need to have that over a month, over a quarter, means depending on if you have heard any news, then you can review that, or you can have that monthly or quarterly review. Your action plan, what you should do from today, not tomorrow. Means start from today. You don't think कि कल हम करेंगे. Start from today, whatever you are thinking of. First define your goal. What is your goal? Goal may differentiate. Retirement, we all are young now, so we may think for retirement as well, because from now we have on an average 25 to 30 years to retire minimum. So we can plan our things accordingly as we have longer duration, and we can plan our things and compounding effect will give us benefit. So retirement, if you are planning for home, you can decide accordingly. 20 years term year also you need. Kids education, who all are married, even if you are not married, you may have future. Target amount means you may have a lump sum amount in your mind. Okay, at 55 I should have this amount in my bank balance. At 60 I should have this much amount in my bank balance. Write it down. Be specific. Goal should be specific. ऐसा नहीं कि मैं कोई गोल ही ना बनाऊं और फिर कुछ भी amount invest करूं. For example, if I have a goal, I will just, we have given a calculation. If I need 3 CR at my 60s, so I will start investing from now 10,000 monthly. If I need 10 CR at my 60s, I will start investing accordingly. I may need to invest 25,000 or 30,000 at that time. So we can plan these things accordingly. Assess yourself. What is your capacity of risk and what is your capacity of investment? How much you can save or invest. Are you aggressive or conservative investor? Just now we have seen aggressive. Aggressive means 70 to 80% you can allocate to equity. Can you afford to lose 30% in short term? Means risk appetite. What is your risk appetite? For example, I have invested 1 lakh. In short term, even if it fall 10 to 20% or 30%, am I able to digest that? If I am able to digest, I may go for higher risk. Have emergency fund ready. In first session also we have discussed, you should have emergency fund of at least 6 months. At least 6 months means if you are having an expense of 20,000, 30,000 or 50,000 depending on your expenses, you should have at least 6 months का emergency fund with you. कल हो के कुछ हो गया तो I should be able to manage my household things at least for 6 months. So be honest with yourself. I don't need to prove this to any other person. I should be honest to myself. I can invest this much amount, so I should start investing that only. किसी को दिखाने के लिए मुझे 50,000 इन्वेस्ट करने की जरूरत नहीं. What is my capacity and risk appetite that I know better than anyone other. Build portfolios. Start building your portfolios. 40% you should have in safe FD or PPF. 45%, it is just an example. It is not bifurcation. You can have your own risk appetite and accordingly bifurcate yourself. Okay? 45% growth mutual funds may you can invest. 15% high returns in equity you can invest. Use SIP for mutual funds. Generally do SIP for mutual funds. You can have lump sum amount also. Means just like you are making a FD, you can have invest lump sum amount in mutual funds as well. Don't need ki every time. If you have, for example, if you have got 5 lakh rupees from somewhere as a bonus, or you have sold any land and you have got 5 lakh rupees, you can invest as a lump sum amount as well. Week 4, invest and commit. Means you should start investing. If you have decided all three, you should start investing. Open accounts. Now all are investing, they might have, except Shubhangi, because Shubhangi, you also should start with minimum amount at least 500, 1,000. Here it is not limit, you should invest 10,000 monthly. You can start from, even some funds give you leverage of starting from 100 rupees as well. Minimum 500 or 1,000 as well. So 10,000 to 50,000 depending on your year. You can invest from 500 also. Set up SIP, track quarterly, stay disciplined. Here, 3 pillars of successful investing. This we have discussed already. 3 pillars of successful investing. Start early. Early, if you start early, for example, I might have started in 20s. So it will give me a period of 40 to 45 years if I am alive. 40 to 45 years to compound my money. If you may be knowing Warren Buffett, he had started investing from the age of 11. So now he is 87 or somewhere in 90s. But his funds started to grow after 60 years. That is compounding. Means after 60 years, his funds grow exponentially. Means पहले 50-60 साल में वो फंड 100 गुना 150 गुना बढ़ा, बट उसके बाद वो 1000 गुना बढ़ा. Compounding effect. So start early. Starting early gives you benefit of more and more compounding. Stay consistent. Start investing and stay consistent and disciplined. आज किया कल नहीं करेंगे तो नहीं चलेगा. Means you should be consistent at your investment, disciplined at your investments. Stay invested. Don't panic. Market will fall, market will rise. Don't panic and don't be happy. Market आज इतना ऊपर आ गया, मेरा 100 रुपए का प्रॉफिट हो गया, लाख रुपए का प्रॉफिट हो गया. Don't panic or don't even be happy at the highest. Stay consistent and stay investing. Don't panic in downfall. Every rupee invested today works for your future 24/7. You might have heard of the saying कि you should be generating money even when you are sleeping. If you have that mentality, or if you are generating money, then only you can survive in future. Today, just one source of income is not sufficient to continue the standard of living that we are maintaining, or maybe in future it may be difficult for survival as well. As per the growth of inflation and other things, standard of living we have increased, it may be difficult to even survive. So you should have multiple sources of income. It may be in different forms. So start investing from now, because what you invest will work for you in future as well 24/7. The best time to start investing is now. There is no any horoscope कि आज अच्छा दिन है आज invest करेंगे. You should start from now onwards. फिक्स योर स्ट्रेटेजी, इतना इन्वेस्ट करना है, इतना मुझे गोल है, ये मेरा रिटर्न्स चाहिए मुझे. Decide your goal and start investing basis that. Your financial freedom awaits, because when you start investing, your financial freedom starts from there onwards. From current means at current you might face some difficulties कि हाँ इतना पैसा मैं सेव कर रहा हूँ, बट उतना मेरा मैं I am lacking that enjoyment, but that will benefit you in near future. So start investing from now. Thank you. I stop my presentation over here.